What's up, everyone? It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Darryl Glover. Happy Monday. It's been a while since I've been on the scene, but I'm back. And I'm back with an amazing guest. Someone who has really set the industry on fire for how many years, how many decades. But friends and family, I'd like to welcome my buddy, my pal, Mr. Robert Bell. Robert, how are you doing today, sir?
Thank you. I'm doing great, Darryl. How are you?
Man, I'm doing extremely well, but I'm probably feeling more comfortable than you because I know you're in Northern California. And from my understanding, it's about 100 and something degrees out there. So you're really on fire out there, right?
Well, you shouldn't say on fire in Northern California because the fire is exposed. You know, walking outside, it feels like you're smoking a pack of cigarettes. You're just breathing the air in. But yeah, it's been a warm summer.
Yeah. So how has your summer been overall?
It's been phenomenal. I just had a 60th birthday. Crazy. I don't feel that way, but yeah, it's just friends and family. It's been a great summer.
Awesome.
What about you?
60 looking like 20, man. That's a beautiful thing. I love
you. You are my favorite optometrist.
Well, that's what's up. Well, look, I'm super excited for today's show simply because, you know, you really help doctors, help opticians, help the eye care industry really convey a message of what they need, solutions when it comes to eye care and prescribing from the chair. So I'm really excited to, dive deep into this topic today and take some tips from you. But before we jump into that, I always like for my guests, my friends, my colleagues, my eye care family to really just give us a good background of who you are, like where you live, how you got started in the industry. Let the whole world know everything about you, Robert, if you don't mind.
All right. Well, I was born 60 years ago. I'm from New York, and I was born into the industry. I was teething on a frame temple. My father before me. My father, Larry Bell, has the reputation of being the greatest salesperson that ever lived within this industry. And he wanted me to go to optometry school. But the problem was I have zero scientific aptitude. I mean, zero. I had an interview with New England College of Optometry when I was 16 years old. I just didn't have that aptitude. But I grew up in a front row seat with the movers and shakers of the industry because that was my father was connected to everybody. And he would have put this industry, to work for me in an eye doctor's office. I just didn't have that wherewithal. But because I met all these movers and shakers, I was connected to so many people. I got into the industry. I started out as a sales rep and national sales manager and a key accounts manager, owned my own frame company. But years ago, I decided to start iCoach, which is what I do now. And iCoach is simply a communications tool. It's a strategy. It's a selling strategy for eye doctors and opticians so they can better communicate with one goal in mind. And a lot of people listening in are not going to like when I say this, but we are in a second-class industry. What do I mean?
Yeah, please elaborate on that. I got to hear about this, man.
Yeah. When I do a workshop, I'm in front of 100, 200, 300, 400 doctors, and I ask this question: how many pairs of eyewear? And when I say eyewear, eyeglasses, contact lenses, does your average patient need? Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not an optician. So you tell me. Now, the number one answer I get is 3. The problem is, in the United States of America, 9 out of 10 people are walking out with 1. They say 3, you can't sell 2. That's a second-class industry. Because if you were another type of doctor and you gave your patients less than what they needed, that's a lawsuit, my friend. So how do we stay out of jail? Well, I don't want anybody in jail, but you as an eye doctor, you are the only healthcare practitioner out there that has retail attached to it.
Right.
Okay. So they don't teach you retail selling in optometry school. I wish they did, but 4 years of optometry school is hard enough without a 5th year learning how to run a practice and how to hire and how to communicate to your patients that they need more than 1 pair at a time.
Right.
So that's why I do what I do, because I don't have the scientific aptitude. My aptitude lays somewhere else. So trying to communicate to your patients without looking like a salesperson, they're only interested in my pocketbook or my wallet. Well, a lot of times we come off like that because there's one very major misconception about selling. And that is,
let's hear it.
Most people think, I ask this question all the time, define selling. And what I get most of all is, oh, it's trying to persuade or convince somebody of something. Okay. But do you like to be persuaded? Because I know I don't. Nobody likes to be persuaded about anything, because when you start persuading, you become that snake oil salesman. Even though you're a nice person, there's no way around it. And then doctors or opticians will tell me, well, I educate my patients. Well, yeah, that's trying to persuade them. And I don't mind you educating them, but you're doing it at the wrong time. What selling is helping your patients acquire what they need. Now, between persuading somebody of something or trying to help them acquire what they need, what's more of a natural extension for you, doctor?
Well, it's always about finding the solution for the patient that's sitting in front of you. I always tell people day in and day out, I've never sold a day in my life. I just solve the problem, and that's exactly what we do
Right.
at my eye doctor, day in and day out. All of our doctors, we find solutions for our patients. So
Right.
You're speaking my language. This is my love language. I love to help people. So I'm super excited about this. So
Well,
I really want you to continue to build upon this.
Right. So, but here's the little trap for you. You get it. But here's the trap for other eye doctors and opticians. I want to solve this patient's problem. I've been doing this 5, 10, 15, 20 years as an eye doctor or an optician. I know what their problem is. Oh my goodness, look at the RS. I know exactly what they need, and I'm going to tell them exactly what they need. That's persuading somebody. As opposed to, and you're going to maybe ask questions about this, as opposed to finding out what they think they need. You know what they need. You're good at this, okay? But everybody is different. Everybody has a different fingerprint. Everybody's different like a snowflake. Everybody has different things going on in their lives, and they're not really concentrating on eyewear or corrective lenses. So there needs to be a way to find out, get the patient to tell you what's going on in their minds. Because you want to know what they're really thinking when they're sitting in your chair or in your optical boutique. They're thinking money. How much money am I going to spend? Well, we got to get rid of that mindset, and it's easy to do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you 100%. I mean, when patients come in, regardless of your background, whether you want to call it money, dinero, greenbacks, paper, whatever it is, I mean, that is always top of mind. And, trying to create an atmosphere and a culture where, you don't sound like a used cars man or someone that, is just trying to take and not create value for that person that's sitting in front of you.
Sure.
Can be difficult because, as you mentioned, optometrists, we go to school and we learn to be clinicians. We don't go to school to be businessmen or women or understand how to connect the dots of solving a problem for a patient that's sitting in front of you.
Right.
So that can be difficult. So, one thing that I really, really love that, I've read some of your articles on Envision Magazine and other platforms, and I've, watched you online and various things of that nature, is that you get it. And you really, really push the emphasis of, or emphasize, I should say, the importance of asking questions. And I would really love for you to really deconstruct that, because it's not just asking, random questions. It's really asking questions, but also this concept of pain questions that you follow up with.
Right.
If you don't mind elaborating on that for me, Robert, that'd be great.
I don't really mind. Okay, I'm happy. Well, when I talk about pain questions, I'm not talking about taking a hammer and nail and sticking it in somebody's eye. but pain gets them talking about what's their discomfort, what is their challenge with their eyesight or their visual health. And the template that I use is, how do you use your eyes in a particular situation? There's 24 hours in a day. All right, you sleep 8 hours, you're not really using your eyes there. But how are you using your eyes at work, at home, at play, with your kids? Do you garden? Do you have other hobbies? Are you sailing? Do you play golf? Do you play tennis? How are you using your eyes in that scenario? Do you a lot of your patients might be sales reps or truck drivers that are on the road all the time. Do they have prescription sunglasses? So a pain question, I'll give an example for a first-time presbyope. A pain question is simple, like, Mrs. Jones, are you having problems reading your text on your phone? Are your arms too short? That's a pain question.
Right.
Period. Maybe prescription polarized glasses. Mrs. Jones, when you're at the soccer field with your little girl, watching her, and you're sitting right in the sun? Are you squinting a lot from the glare of the sun? Are you covering your eyes? Are you wearing a baseball cap? What are you doing? That's a pain question. Now, to follow up, because you want to make the pain hurt. Oh, okay, now I'm aware of my pain. What do you do? You ask the following questions. How often is this happening? You want to know occurrence. Oh, it's happening a lot? When it happens, here's the next follow-up question. Does it bother you? Now you got them thinking about themselves now.
Yeah.
You're putting them in the world. Oh, yeah, it does bother me. Well, how much does it bother you? Scale of 1 to 10. 9. Well, that seems to be a problem.
Absolutely.
And here's the killer, okay? Now, you're just asking questions. You're not offering solutions yet because you don't have their permission to offer a solution. Mrs. Jones, we've had a lot of patients like you with a similar visual challenge. We've helped them. Would you like us to help you too? Once they say yes, they just gave you permission. Now you can make your presentation. Now you can educate them on the products that are going to save the day.
Right.
So it's pain question. How often does it happen? When it happens, does it bother you? How much does it annoy you? Would you like me to help you with that?
I love it. I love it. And this is, when you think about it, this is basic stuff, right? This is what we do when we're in the exam room. If we touch on dry eye, or if someone comes in with a foreign body in the eye. So it's not like we have to really, dig deep. We just have to use the basic skills that we already know and apply it to this piece here. So this is great stuff, Robert.
Well, thank you. And people have told me, but Robert, these questions are so simple. They're so dumb. I'm royalty. I am the king of dumb questions. But you know why I ask dumb questions? I mean, I'm a semi-bright guy. You're a semi-bright guy. But asking dumb questions gets you smart answers. You probably already know the answers, but until you actually hear it from your patient or your customer, you don't know. Don't assume.
Yeah.
So ask these questions. If you're asking simple questions, you're not challenging them. You're just investigating. You're just trying to find out. Help me along here. Help me help you.
Yeah. So, no, I love it. And one thing that I really love is when you're able to get a patient to answer these questions, and then you go into those pain point questions, and then you're able to connect the dots for them. A lot of times they'll tell you what the solution is that they need, or then they'll start bringing up potential ideas of how they can solve that problem. And whenever you can have someone actually solve the problem themselves rather than you feeding them the solution,
right?
You're talking about game changing. You're talking about automatically creating more loyalty to your practice. You're talking about generating multiple sales. You're talking about increasing that bottom line. I mean, it's the sky's the limit. I mean, you can do so much when you can put a patient in that position.
Right. You know what? The greatest question a patient or a customer can ask you. Well, doctor or Mr. or Mrs. Optician, don't I need a second pair? Don't I need polarized glasses? Don't I need? Well, okay, if you insist, that's probably a good idea. And here's the thing. So I asked this question, would you like me to help you with that now? And they say yes, they give it permission. Now you go into your presentation mode, right? And most of us think making a presentation is talking about the features and benefits of a product. It's pretty simple. But when I do a workshop, I tell my audience, talk about the features all you want. Never, ever, ever talk about the benefits. And people go, well, what? What are you talking about? Nope, don't do it. Talk about a feature and then ask about the benefit. Mrs. Jones's progressive lens has far, near, and intermediate, so you can see your computer, you can see your kids, doing crazy things, and you can read the text on your phone. Would that be advantageous to you? Well, yes. Well, how would that be beneficial? Well, then I don't have to use my arm like this all the time. Great. Now they understand the benefit. Do you know what just happened, Darryl? You know what I just killed in 5 seconds? Buyer's remorse went out the window. You can go to buyer's remorse workshops all day long. I do it in 5 seconds, because once you ask them about the benefit and they're able to explain it to you, then game over. They close themselves.
Yeah.
If they're not able to explain it to you, then you have to go back. You missed something somewhere.
Yeah.
And talking about features, I want to make sure I'm clear about something. If a product that you're talking about has 5 features, but the patient only has 3 pains, only talk about the 3 features that address those 3 pains. Don't talk about features 4 and 5, because once you're talking about a feature that has no relevance to them, they're going to ching, to ching, to ching.
Yeah.
So.
And information overload as well, right? I mean, I feel like sometimes, we have all this technology. As you mentioned earlier, we're blessed to be in a profession where we have that retail piece, and that retail piece comes with a lot of technology, innovation. And sometimes we don't need to go over all the whistles that go along with all the bells and whistles. Sometimes we just need to look at what the actual problem is with the patient,
right?
And connect the dots of the solution that's going to solve that actual problem that they're experiencing, which can help, just make that experience better, but also, again, takes that buyer remorse out once you allow them to come up with the solution for them.
Exactly, because they now own that benefit. They own it. They understand you.
Yeah. That's interesting, and I love that. Now, okay, so I want to hit you with this, Robert. So check this out. We were able to connect the dots with the patient. That's one piece, right? We have a solution for the patient. That's another piece. But when it comes to insurance, how do you have this conversation with the patient? Because we can prescribe from the chair all day, and we can find these solutions, and we can make the patients even tell us what they need. But when it comes to insurance, patients also think cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. So how do you have this conversation and dialogue with that person that's sitting in front of you without them running out the door because they're like, oh my goodness, you're trying to charge me a house note here to buy a pair of glasses?
Right. Well, we have to change the conversation. And I wasn't a science major in my undergrad. I was an English major with creative writing, as a focus. But language is very important to me. So let's call insurance what it really is, because it's not vision insurance. It's a vision care plan. And there's a huge difference. Okay. For instance, I have car insurance. God forbid I get into an accident. My car insurance covers me up to $300,000. It covers me. Vision insurance, vision care plans don't cover anything. They don't cover anything. And if you're thinking that, doctors and opticians who are listening, and you're thinking that, you really need to rethink that. It's a don't say coverage, say contribution.
Okay.
It contributes to your eye exam. It contributes to your glasses. So you can now get these designer, $500 frames and this $250 lens, the $750 eyeglass for $400. Isn't that great? Whatever the numbers are, it's a contribution without saying discount. Because what the vision care plans literally did was come into doctors and say, hey, doc, we know you're a doctor. You're not a great marketer. And this is before social media. You're not a great marketer. I'll tell you what, come with us. We'll pay you a fee. We'll make a contribution towards the patient, and we'll bring the patients into you. We'll handle all your marketing. And that was the beginning, the essence of vision care plans. When I ran into VSP in Ohio when I was 29 years old, and I didn't know what VSP was, and I walked into their office and I met with some muckety muck. What do you guys do? And he was explaining it to me. I'm like, nah, this will never work. And I was shocked that it worked. But I'm thinking, all right, well, doctors really aren't great marketers, and they really needed an avenue or a tool to bring new patients in. But we have to get rid of the notion that the patient or the customer thinks that their vision insurance or vision care plan covers things. And some of them walk in thinking it covers everything, right?
Right. Oh, well, most of them. What do you mean? Some of them. Like 99% for the most part.
And unfortunately, the person in your office or in the doctor's office that gets hit with this the most is your front desk person.
Sure.
So have this conversation with your front desk person. They need to be strong. Him or her need to be strong. I have vision insurance. I don't want to pay a dime more than, okay, I completely understand. But here's what we're going to do. You're going to fill out a little paperwork so we get to know you. One of our pre-testers is going to test you, and the doctor is going to examine your eyes, and you're going to come out and sit with our opticians, and we're going to find the best eyewear that works for you, okay? But then you have to ask yourself, how well would you like to see when you leave here? 20%, 57%, 62%, 89%, 100%. Who in their right mind is not going to say 100%?
Right.
Well, I want to see 100%. Fantastic. So we're going to do all this for you, and then we're going to come up with options for you. We're going to say, here's option A, option B, option C. Option A costs this, option B costs this, option C costs this. And A does this, this, and this, and B does this and this, and C does this. With your vision care plan, you save $300, $200, $100. Now, here's the closing question. What works best for you? I don't care what they answer. I am not emotionally involved with this decision because people ask me what the best sale I ever made was. Was it the one you made the most commission on? Was it the highest ticket item? No, I don't have a best sale, because if selling is literally helping people acquire what they need, then they're all my best sale.
Right.
And I know you know this because this is your mindset.
Oh, yeah.
Finding solutions. So with insurance, the bottom line with insurance is change the conversation, because it's really not insurance. It's a vision care plan that contributes, greatly financially, to your eyewear and to your eye exam. Does that make sense?
Oh, I love it. I mean, just that word, contribution. I mean, that is huge. I mean, that changes the game. That really wakes up the patient that's sitting in front of you, and they know the definition of contribution. So that starts the conversation and the dialogue off in the right way. And I love that you use the percentages. I mean, how well do you want to see? 10%, 100%. I mean, come on now, ding, ding, ding. These are your eyes. You want to see 100% well. So people can always understand.
I'll give away a freebie. I ask my clients on their intake sheet, where it says, occupation, like what do you do for work? The next question has to be, how important is your vision or your eyesight for your job? Right? It's again, king of dumb questions. And I'm not trying to be a smart ass when I say, how would you like to do? What that question is really, it's a double entendre. What the question is really asking the patient is, what's more important, your money or your eyesight?
Right.
You have to change their priorities.
Right.
The priorities is, I have to make my car payment, I have to make my rent or my mortgage, I have to, send my kid to, whatever it is. Now we have to put vision in there, because right now vision is on the bottom of the list. So it has to kind of get up in their priorities. So, and then step back and see what they do. We can't sell everybody everything, and we don't want to. We just really want to, help them acquire what they need. In language, I just want to throw this out there, and I don't know because I haven't spent 4 years in optometry school, but there must be somewhere in the curriculum of all these schools that probably on the first day of your first year in optometry school, write this word down: recommend. I recommend. Stop it. Don't recommend, prescribe.
They prescribe. I always tell all the doctors that I train, even on live streams, everyone to tell you, I prescribe.
Right.
I don't recommend. You wouldn't go to your PCP and they say, oh, I recommend a Z-Pack. No, they prescribe a Z-Pack. We have to do the same thing when we're in the exam room. We have to prescribe from the right solution for that patient sitting in front of us. That way we can accommodate their lifestyle, but give them everything they need to be successful. So we have to prescribe. We have to prescribe. We have to prescribe, eye care professionals.
Yes.
I can't stress that enough. But what I would like to dig on is a little bit more of that language, because I do feel like as eye care professionals, as optometrists in particular, a lot of times we get bogged down with the lingo that patients don't understand, especially when it comes to prescribing from the chair and finding a lens option. I would love to dig a little deeper in regards to what tips and that you may have up your sleeve in regards to when it comes to conveying the message in layman's terms, or if there's certain techniques you have for doctors to really be able to connect with the patient that's sitting in front of them.
Right. I can share 2 exercises with everybody tuning in, and opticians too. I mean, opticians have optical jargon. You don't even know you're doing it, because it's like water and air. It's just what you do. You wake up in the morning, you're thinking in these terms. So the first thing I would do is try your best to write down all the optical or optometric language jargon that you use, words or phrases, and then within one sentence, explain it in layman's terms. All right, that's the first thing. But the most powerful exercise is call one of your best friends and call what I call an FU friend. And what an FU friend is the guy or the gal who says, what the F are you thinking? You know, who calls you on your BS, right? Who's not going to mince words. So you can do this on the phone, you can do this in person and say, I want to run things by you. I'm going to talk to you and I want you to write down words or say to me, I didn't understand that word. I didn't understand that phrase. Okay. Non-optical or non-optometric friends, by the way. And by doing this, they're literally going to be the best mirror for you. Like, what the hell is a retina? What is an iris? What is this? What is an opticam? What is OCT? What is dry eye? I don't understand them. I mean, they're going to tell you. Okay. I mean, it's funny. You know what's really funny? I'm not a doctor. I'm not an optician. I've been in this industry my whole life, and I was doing a crossword puzzle, and the answer was iris. I forgot what the clue was, but it was like, what is that again? I mean, I couldn't come up with it. So what's really simple language to eye care professionals isn't so much. And even though your friends may know what you're doing, they may not understand, the language. So that to me would be the most powerful way to understand your communication skills to your patients or your customers.
Yeah. No, I love it. And, it's one thing to use words and, get away from the technical words, but I also like to use examples. Like in my practice, I always have my patients bring whatever they're having problems with. So, I think I see a guitar or something behind you. I'll tell the patients to bring that in and, let's see if we have a problem, or a golf club, or pull out their cell phone. That's one thing that I use all the time. When I can really connect the dots and have communication with something physical in the office, it really helps to elevate that experience and connect the dots and make it easier for my optical team members to get them set up exactly what I prescribe.
Right.
So one piece that I really love to add. And, something else that I wanted to touch on that you actually did earlier was, or touched on briefly, is tone. How important is your tone whenever you're having communication with patients, going from low to high, high to low to really, solidify your point?
Tone is unimportant at all. Everybody walks in, get the hell out of here. You should be that old Jewish waiter at Carnegie Deli. I want mayo on my pastrami. No, it's not going to happen. No, you have to, everybody who walks in has to be treated like your long lost friend from junior high school. Oh my God, I'm so happy you're here. Let me share a customer service mantra that I hooked up on years ago. People talk about the golden rule, right? Do unto others or treat others the way you want to be treated.
Right. And
that's great. And we learned it from our parents and our relatives and our friends and our teachers and our religious leaders. And that's great, but it doesn't work. And I don't want people screaming, yelling at me, blah, blah, blah. I don't believe in God. It doesn't work because we get it here, but we don't get it here. Substitute the golden rule with the following. Starting today, treat everybody you meet and already know as if they be dead by midnight. Extend to them all the care, kindness, and understanding you can muster. Your life will never be the same. Because if somebody comes in and they're angry and, they're having a bad day, you don't know why, but you're in front of them. Yeah, you're this and you're that, blah, blah. It's so easy for us to react with fire, like, well, blah, blah, get out of my office. But tomorrow, Darryl, if I come back to you and say, hey, remember that idiot that came in here yesterday and screaming and yelling at you? He got hit by a bus tonight and left 3 kids and a wife. How bad are you going to feel? Me personally, I would feel terrible. So instead of, do the opposite. I'm a big fan of doing the opposite. Somebody comes in, let them scream. And they can't scream forever, Let it come in. But treat everybody the way if they be dead by midnight. Extend to them all the care. Smile. Because if you can't smile at work, you need another profession. Go work at Starbucks. Go work somewhere else. and opticians too. And folks, look, I've been doing this a long time. I've met tons of you around the country and through Canada and throughout Europe and Hong Kong. And you guys have tough jobs. Medical and retail. Crazy. Healthcare and retail. Crazy. And people, people's demands. I love it when they come in on a Friday on a 3-day weekend. I need it tomorrow. I'm going to Europe. It's wow, I'm in awe that you guys have your sanity, or most of you have your sanity. But your tone is everything. Tone is calm. Tone is, I do a lot of this when I'm asking a question, especially when they're answering me. One of the best compliments I ever got was from a doctor in Taos, New Mexico, Robert Ratzliff. And he said, Robert, you made me a better doctor. Well, not having been to optometry school, how the hell did I do that? He said, because you're making me ask more questions. I said, all right, well, how does that make you a better doctor? Because it makes me a better listener. And that was, wow. To me, that was the best compliment I ever received. So when you're asking a question, literally it forces them to have a conversation with you. Listen for the answers. Listen, and then summarize. So if I'm hearing you right, you're saying this, this, and this. Okay. And it bothers you, and all right, and it bothers you a lot, and it's happening a lot. All right, well, let's see if we can find a solution for you.
Yeah. Yeah, this is great stuff. I mean,
thank you.
When I
it's simple stuff though, isn't it?
It's simple, and but it's so impactful, right? And it's so powerful, and it's crazy how in life the little things that you do can cause tremendous impact in someone's life, right? Just having that mindset, of thinking, what happens if this person's not here tonight or tomorrow? I mean, that really, really it resonates with you, right? Because we all know that we don't want to see that happen to anyone.
Right.
And, I always would say, treat every patient like you treat your mom or dad. And in the back of my head, I'm always thinking some people may not like their mom or dad. Exactly. Right?
Exactly.
But now I love this approach, and I'm going to start using this with my team because they need to understand the importance of treating that person in front of them with all the respect in the world and giving them everything they need, because tomorrow is not promised. We don't know what our future holds. So we want to make sure that every person that we come in contact with, we roll out that red carpet. We give them the solutions that they need, and we treat them like we would treat no one else. Exactly. So I'm with you 100% on that. The other piece that I always tell folks too, when someone comes in and they're crazy as hell, is that look, you don't have to go home with them. You're not their significant other, so don't lose sleep over it. Keep it moving. Just do what you got to do.
Right.
So I think I would continue that, but add in the piece that you had as well, because I think that'll be the dynamic duo right there to really
absolutely. And I love that you have that attitude. And when I started writing articles for the trade magazines 2020, I got a doctor from San Diego who called me up and said, Robert, how would you sell a guy like Bill Gates? And I said, doctor, not to sound cheesy or being a smartass, but I would sell Bill Gates the same way I would sell Bill Gates' janitor. There's no difference.
You got it.
You offer them the very best, because you're not a mind reader. You offer them the very best services and products you have. Let them say, oh, well, that's more than I wanted to spend. And by the way, I'm going to give you, everybody here, I shouldn't do this for free, but Darryl, I like you. You are my favorite optometrist. There are five words that will overcome every single objection a patient can throw at you.
Let's hear it, man. Let's hear it.
You grab them by the throat and say, hey, genius, listen to me. No, that's for people in Jersey. The 5 words are this: other than the fact that these glasses are too expensive, are there any other reasons why you wouldn't purchase them today? Well, no. All right, well, let's find a less expensive option for you. Okay. The only thing that those 5 words won't handle is, well, let me think about it, or let me ask my husband, or let me ask my wife or my significant other. That doesn't work. Now, if you're from the New York area like I do, I come up with "and," which is a curveball. And they're not expecting it. Well, it's more money than I wanted to spend. Oh, other than the fact that it's more money. But a lot of people are not comfortable with "and." I do workshops all over the country where we can't ask "and." Well, "and" is literally asking why. I just spent all this time with you and you want to think about it? What the heck? But you can't ask why. Why is a trigger word. Why do I have to do my homework? Why do I have to take the garbage out? Why? But ask why with what? I'm sure you have your reasons. May I ask what they are? It's really that simple. And sometimes like, no, I just really want to think about it. Fair enough. Let them think about it. But that's kind of a last-ditch effort. But other than the fact that if somebody's an objection, well, I don't think I need progressive lenses. Maybe I, go to a bifocal. Other than the fact that, whatever the objection is, and usually the objection is money, right?
Yeah.
or my insurance or my vision care plan doesn't cover all of it. Well, other than the fact that it doesn't cover all of it, are there any other reasons why you wouldn't want this?
Yeah. See,
Technical.
I like that because it puts the patient in a position to really think about how important these glasses are, and like, okay, there's no other reason for me to get this outside of money. And that may trigger, them to think, hey, do you have some kind of payment plan? Do you have some type of service that I can use to pay for these glasses? Or can I put half down now? The conversation starts to take place of how can we convert this into these glasses on my face rather than, okay, maybe I need to just get out of here and I don't really need these glasses. So I really like that concept.
Right. And, it reminds me of a post I saw on Facebook sometime a couple of years ago. A doctor was literally asking, how do I respond to a patient was like, oh, I just need my eye exam and my PD. I'm going to go buy it from, online and this and that. I'm like, why should I buy from you? And everybody was commenting of like, how to respond to this. And it was all defensive. And I'm sitting there thinking, did they just really ask me, why should they buy from me? That's a gift. They're asking that question. Oh my, that's literally a Christmas, Hanukkah, birthday gift all wrapped into one. Why should they? Well, my thing is, my training is throw it back on them. Why would you want to buy from me? Or right. Why would you want to buy somewhere else?
Right.
It would be cheaper. So you want cheaper product or a cheaper price or both? Right. Okay, well, we have better product at a price line that might, work with you. But like, why should I buy from you? Yeah, well, why do you think you should buy from me? And shut up and let them tell you. Great. Yes. Like, what would you like to do now?
Hey, Robert, at the end of the day, what we have to realize is that, our patients are coming to see us. We are the experts. They're coming to us for a reason. So you need to capitalize on that opportunity and realize that they came to see you because you have all the expertise, whether it's the medical piece or the right pair of eyewear to accommodate what they need to allow them to live their best life. So, it's very important for us to realize the power that we have when we're sitting in that exam room. And I think some of us forget that and forget that we are the experts. And it's up to us to really make sure that the patients leave feeling like we're the experts, because once you let them leave, then you're taking some of that expertise away. You're taking some of that knowledge away from the practice, from the doctor, because you're not really solving the problem of the reason why they came in. Don't let them take that script and walk and go online. Really just have that conversation with them.
Right. It's crazy that you went 4 years undergrad, 4 years of optometry school, and yet they can go on Google or WebMD or some dope on Facebook. Like, oh, no, you can go here and blah, blah, blah. And they will only charge you 13 cents for a frame. So going back to tone and your expertise, you have to slow things down. I do a lot when I come into a practice, with a private client. One of the things I do is I shadow the doctor and his or her staff for the day. And what I find in the doctors in the exam room is very interesting. Most of the doctors I work with, if not all, are the nicest people, but they've been doing it so long, it's almost robotic. It's almost mechanical, and it's fast. I'm in New York, and I can talk like this and blah, 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 and I can go with the best of them, but you have to slow it down. You have to literally engage them eye to eye. That's powerful. And doing what you're doing now, nodding your head. And, you like my father tried to retire years ago, and I wrote an article for 2020, and I ran around the industry and I asked people, give me a line about my dad so I can put it in the article. And the best thing I heard about my dad was he makes you, when you're talking to Larry Bell, he makes you feel like you're the most important person in the world. Nothing else exists. It's me and you, pal. It's just me and you.
Yeah. And every day, that's the thing that is so special about optometry. We have the opportunity to help people, number one, with the most precious gift known to mankind, vision, the most precious sense. But number two, we get to sit down with someone that we do not know at all and develop a relationship with them and just help create value for their life. I mean, who wouldn't want to do that day in and day out? It's just an amazing opportunity that we have at our fingertips. And I don't know about you, Robert, but I love that opportunity.
Yeah.
I live that day in and day out. I mean, I have patient care tomorrow. I wasn't in patient care today because I was working from home on some admin stuff. But, every Tuesday prior to going to work, I just I get that smile, that smile from ear to ear, because I know I'm going to be able to do something that I love and impact someone's life day in and day out.
Right.
So I'm with you 100%.
Absolutely. And again, I'm not an optician or a doctor, but I started volunteering about 15 years ago with an organization called Project Homeless Connect. And I'm like, this is what you guys do all day? This is amazing. And dispensing day to see somebody who's a -13 who hasn't worn glasses for a year and a half.
Yeah.
On and literally, I feel my depression just like walking away. I mean, it's so powerful what you guys do. And it drives me crazy because it hurts. It literally hurts me that you guys aren't living up to your full potential. Now, I'm not talking about, I don't care how much money you make. Money is the byproduct. Your salary or your profit is the byproduct of what you do. The money will come if you do it right. And what's doing it right is getting them into all the eyewear they need. And so here's a little, I don't like to use the word trick, but this is a little trick. If this patient, Mr. Jones or Mrs. Jones, needs a second or third pair of eyewear, since the first pair of eyewear is easy to sell, right? Then start talking about the second or third pair first.
Yes.
Okay. If you're writing, the patients are coming out of your exam room, Darryl. I know you're writing 2 or 3 scripts there, this and that. Great. Now I'm the optician. Oh, I see Dr. Glover has written several prescriptions for you. All right. Well, let's talk about your sunglasses. Tell me what you're doing. Well, shouldn't we talk about? Yeah, we'll get there. Absolutely. I'm not going to forget that.
Yes.
So start with the hardest part first, and then work your way down to the easy part.
Yeah, no, I love it. And, I really love how you connected the dots for us today, right?
Thank you.
I really love that, number one, we stress the importance of asking questions, right? Mm-hmm. And we stress the importance of following up those questions with the paying questions, right? I love that we touched on having communication and the right dialogue, whether it's taking out all the technical terms or having the right tone, having the right verbal cues, nonverbal cues to be able to really, connect with that patient. And I really love that we touched on insurance because that's a piece that a lot of people always like to say. Insurance, I'm scared, right? But, what I would like for us to do next, if you don't mind, is really help put together the story behind all of this. I mean, it's one thing to know and have all those tools in our tool belt, but a lot of these organizations out there, they have brand stories, and you always want to make sure that when you're having that conversation with that patient, you're aligning your brand story with what the patient needs and holding your core value or keeping your core values to keep you held to make sure that patient gets everything that they have. If you don't mind talking about the importance of also understanding a brand story and creating a story with that patient that's in front of you as well. I know that's a two-pronged approach, in there, but if we could touch on that.
Yeah, I want to kind of refer back to a 2-part article I wrote for Envision magazine called Dr. The Mysterious Dr. And my ex-wife, and it's probably why I'm divorced. We'd be walking in like a mall or something, and I would like, honey, give me a second. I'd run up to somebody wearing eyeglasses just because I do this. Hey, I love your eyeglasses. Oh, thanks. You're really cool. Where'd you get them? Oh, my eye doctor's office. I'm sorry. That's your. Okay. So I'm sorry. But that's how they were. Oh, my eye doctor's office. Well, who's your eye doctor? And they would go, oh, Doctor. If they're not saying Dr. Bell or Dr. Glover or ABC Optometry or XYZ Optical, then your brand, you didn't do a good job telling your story about your brand.
Right.
What is your story? For somebody like you, Darryl, I can see it in your face. I can see it in that smile. And I can see it in the language that you use with me, solving your patient's visual challenges. That's it. People have mission statements that are a paragraph long. No, one sentence, man, one sentence. Why do you do what you do? Why do you get up in the morning, and why should your patients give a rat's behind that you do, that you're in your office, that you're there seeing them? You need to understand your why. So starting with your why do you do, and even with doctors who have been doing this 30 years, I will ask this question, well, why did you go up to optometry school in the first place? And I will hear the most remarkable stories. One of my favorite stories is when I was a little kid, I couldn't see the board, and I was 8 years old. My parents finally took me to the eye doctor, and I was a -7. And I couldn't, my eye doctor, he or she was the nicest person in the world. And I wanted to do what they did. I wanted to help the world to see. That's a great story. And it translates well in the passion every day, in doing this. So but it's very important that everybody on your staff, from the low man or woman on the totem pole to the doctor, everybody in between, understands that brand. They have the same story. They know what they're doing, and they have to understand that you are the best practice in town. If you're not the best practice in town, if you don't think you're the best practice in town, do something else. Do something else. For all the eye doctors listening in right now, if you're not already doing this, tomorrow, order business cards for your opticians and your para-optometrics and everybody on staff, because we all go into Target or Walmart and we're standing in line at the grocery store and we're seeing somebody who's wearing glasses and we're thinking, who the hell did that to you? Or even like, hey, those are really cool glasses. If you ever need an adjustment, I work for the greatest eye doctor in town. Here's my card. Come in, we'll give you a free cleaning cloth. That kind of thing. Your staff should be your ambassadors to your community.
Yeah. I love that piece, because that's whenever I step out of this house, well, just in life, I always have a pair of glasses on. It's rare that you see me without glasses.
Right.
And one of the main reasons is because it is a great marketing tool. When I walk into a building, people always ask me, where'd you get your glasses from? And I just jump out and say, what's up? It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Darryl Glover. Come over and see me. Down at my doctor. It works. And even in the exam lane, I have these amazing Cutler and Gross frames where they were sunglasses, and I made them into my computer glasses.
Right.
And I sell that frame off my face at least 3 times a month.
Right.
And I open up the conversation to that patient wanting to buy glasses, but then also buying their second or third pair of glasses because it's computer glasses. So They're like, oh, Dr. Glover, I love those glasses. What are those? I tell them the brand, and I say, hey, these are my computer glasses. And that's not even jumping into, my primary glasses. So you can see how that really helps to elevate that conversation, but really helps to elevate the awareness of the different options that you need to really live your best life. So I'm with you 100% when it comes to like wearing those glasses and getting out there in the real world.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And people, here's a little thing I like to do at parties, because people always come up to you and say, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm an eye doctor. Snooze. No, come on. Start the conversation. If you meet me on a plane and like, hey, Robert, what do you do for a living? I yell at eye doctors. Well, what does that mean? Now I'm in a conversation. That's what I wanted. But, I posted this on ODs on Facebook like 5-6 years ago. Tell me what you do for a living at a party, but you can't use optometrist, eye doctor, optical. You can't use any optometric terms like that. And my favorite answer was, me? I'm a vision superhero. Love it. Love it. I'm a vision, to the point, elevator statement. Like, well, what does that mean? Glad you asked. Now you're into a conversation. So
I love it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put a challenge out to all optometry schools. They should ask that question to all students the first day they start optometry school. That's a hell of a question. And opticians as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Any eye care professional. It's one of my dearest friends is an optician, and she used to work in a very high-end place in Palo Alto, and she had a lot of CEOs from Silicon Valley coming in. And she had this one guy, CEO, I'm not going to say what company, and he did a lot of interviews on CNN and Fox News and MSNBC. And he was wearing these ratty old Ray-Bans and this and that. Comes into Lisa, and Lisa styles him and this and that. And literally, she said, I just made this guy that much more dynamic. And because when you saw him on CNN, on the news before, he was like this. And now he was like this because he's proud of his face, because of a simple styling. Oh my goodness, does it get better than this? So Lisa likes to say, I make people's lives more dynamic. And I love that. That's such a great word, dynamic.
Yeah, very powerful, very strong. I love it as well. I love it. Well, hey, Robert, man, this has been fantastic. And
thank you.
I feel like I could talk to you for hours at a time, simply because, your heart your heart is in eye care. I mean, it's clear. I mean, you really want to make sure that the patient that's sitting in front of whatever eye care professional has all the tools and resources to be successful. Right. And conversation and dialogue today really displays that. And I just want to say thank you for all the work that you have done over the last 2 years.
Yeah, I'm a rookie. I'm a young man. Yeah. Darryl, thank you so much for having me on. It's so much fun to talk with you.
Yeah, no, but for those that are tuning in and they really want to reach out to you and learn more about iCoach and bring you into their practice and help, take their practice to the next level, what's the best way for them to reach out to you and contact you, Robert?
Well, you can email me at theicoach, THEYECOACH @gmail.com. You can call or text me 650-793-3322. Or, Robert Bell is like John Smith, but you can find me on Facebook through all the optometric groups or optical groups, opticians on Facebook, ODs on Facebook, Optical Independence, Don't Ask the Lab Guy. You can tag me. And I'm happy to have it's a conversation. I don't take on everybody who reaches out to me because sometimes it's not a fit. And if, I'm happy to take all of your money, folks, but I have to sleep at night. I want to get back to all the doctors out there because, again, my father doing this before me gave me a very nice life, sent me to school and loved my years, working with eye doctors and opticians around the country, around the world, actually. So, but none of them are my favorite eye doctor like you, Dr. Glover.
I appreciate you, my man. But hey, one last thing, Robert.
Yes.
I always like to leave the show with one key takeaway. If there's one thing that someone can do tomorrow, this evening, right now, if they're listening to this, seeing patients, what would be that key takeaway that they can implement right away?
Write down, develop your pain questions, ask questions, keep on asking questions, be very aware of talking at somebody as opposed to engaging them and asking them questions. How do you develop a pain question? Again, the template is how do you use your eyes in a particular situation. If you don't know how to get started, there are 2 ways to do it. Send me an email. I'll get you started. I won't charge for that. I'll get you started in the right direction. The other thing is talk to your sales reps, whether it be frame companies or labs or lens companies. Ask them about the features and benefits. Ask them to sit down with you and help you develop pain questions along with your optometric and optical skills, along with their knowledge of their product. That should be the main takeaway.
Fantastic. I hope everyone was taking notes because Robert Bell is here to help take your practice to the next level. I just want to say thank you again, and all my friends, followers, listeners, colleagues, eye care family. Have a fantastic week. It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Darryl Glover. Thank you for always tuning in, and without you guys, this industry would be nothing. So continue the great work, and until next time, peace.